What's up, everybody? Welcome to Breakfast of Champions. Happy Thursday to you. I appreciate you taking the time to join me on this live stream. Don't forget to comment in the chat box and rep your city, rep your state. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and hit that thumbs up button because I'm bringing some heat for you guys today. The lessons that I'm going to be sharing with you within this live stream are really going to help ramp up your income, ramp up your sales, and ramp up your production. So take a second right now, hit up the chat box. Let me know what state you're tuning in from, and don't forget to light up that thumbs up button. I'll see you guys in a minute. Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast of Champions. Hope you're having a solid week so far. For those of you who are your first time joining us on this live stream, Breakfast of Champions is a weekly show. It hasn't really come to actual set time. Sometimes it happens 7:30, sometimes it happens at 8. And in order to get a step ahead and make sure that you never miss an episode, be sure you opt in to get a copy of the free sales script. The sales script was revised and updated in April, and there's a link in the notes below this video, or you can go to salesremaster.com to request an updated copy of the sales script. The sales script is fire, and a lot of the techniques and the teachings within that sales script will help you get past a lot of the resistance. So be sure you do that now if you haven't done it yet. And maybe you can open up maybe like another window and request that, because once you opt in for a copy of that sales script, I keep you updated. Not only do I share some content with you and value with you here and there, maybe once a week, a couple times a week, but I also give you quick notifications of any live streams that I'm doing. And speaking of which, tomorrow, which is Friday, is FIF, and we're going to be talking about average. So be sure that you tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to start at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So without further ado, the real topic and the content within this live stream is going to focus on two main things. And it's because I'm very aware that a lot of the loan officers that are watching, a lot of people who are watching, are not just refinance agents. A lot of you are also purchase agents. And I mentor hundreds of MLOs all throughout the country. And I'm seeing the challenges, even though they're very similar, they're coming from different type of platforms. So whether it's from an inside call center agent or a retail agent, or you work for a broker and you're kind of just, you know what I mean? You kind of just fed to the sharks, you're left on your own. And I'm so happy to bring these episodes to you because it's giving you the information that you unfortunately don't have, maybe within your surroundings, or simply because there's just no other channel on social media or on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram that's giving you the keys to the kingdom. I'm literally telling you how to ramp up your income and ramp up your production. And so in this episode, we're going to do the same. We're going to talk about some ways to remove the awkwardness, remove the unfamiliarity, that weird feeling that you get when you feel like you're intruding. Maybe you're stopping by a realtor's office, or maybe you're out prospecting for new leads or new referral partners. I'm going to show you how to actually work your way into a broker shop, meaning a real estate shop, without feeling like you're intruding, without feeling like you're a bugaboo. So stick around, and definitely make sure you light up that thumbs up button, share the link, grab your team, let them know that the live stream is happening, and we're going to get into it in just a second. I'll see you guys in a minute. Yes, sir. So let's start off with, I'm sure you guys want to know, if you guys are right now kind of just left on your own, left to fend for yourself, as a retail loan officer like you're out and it's all up to you to find your referral partners. Comment in the chat box below and say, yo, that's me. I'm trying to find a way to get to these realtors a little bit more easier, a little bit more smooth. And I'm going to teach you a few different ways on how to actually make this happen without putting yourself in a position where you're in this negative spotlight from the real estate agents that you're trying to approach. Okay. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tell you what I would do if I started all over today and I was brand new and my sole function was to generate business. I'm going to teach you 2 ways to generate business fast. Not only that, but I'm going to teach you how to create referral partnerships. Like, I think that referral partnerships is a pretty big thing. And that's something that I think a lot of us are trying to do each and every single day, because what we're trying to do is set systems in place that feeds itself, right? And so the true idea of having a referral partner is so that you have extensions out in the world that sends you leads, because maybe you don't get internet leads. But if you do get internet leads or you do get company provided leads, I'm gonna show you how to flip those in this live stream as well. But first off, starting with realtors, okay? So I think that the common challenge that a lot of loan officers have when approaching realtors are basically, number one, they don't want to take your meetings. Number two, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to meet with you. They don't want to invite you into their office. And number three is that they're typically already taken care of, right? Like, they already have a partner. They already have someone that they funnel their loans to. And I think all loan officers share this challenge. This is something that we need to figure out how to put ourselves in front of realtors where we can have the better chance to earn a relationship. And so if I had to start off all over today, what I would do is map out my territory of realtors. And so it's as simple as going to Google and just typing in local realtors, right? Or local real estate agents. And what will happen is it'll bring up a list of all the broker shops around you. And so these are basically broker-owned shops with real estate agents within them. And so let's use a common name that I think everyone's familiar with. Let's say Tarbell Realty, right? So if I had a Tarbell Realty, let's say within my district or within my area of focus, I'm going to start by going to their main page, their website. And the reason for that is because it's going to give me a list of every single agent within it. And I'm sure you guys already know this. You guys have probably already tried it before. And the reason why this is important is because for those of you who don't know, you could tell based on the license number of the experience that person has, right? So like 01 has been in the game longer than a license number that starts with 02. Right, 00 has been a real estate agent longer than someone whose license number starts with 01, and so on and so forth. And so this kind of is a sign of whether or not they've been doing it for a while. And the reason why that plays a role is because, for one, I think oftentimes what we do is we'll go to that list of real estate agents and just start calling, right? And the problem with that is that we haven't positioned ourselves to even give that person a call yet, especially if we don't do our own personal recon on that individual. Does that make sense? So I think that it's easier to approach somebody when there is meaning in the intent behind it, as opposed to contact someone where you're just trying to farm business. Meaning, the average approach to a realtor sounds something like this. Hey, Jim, my name is Daniel. I'm with New American Funding. I just want to see if you'd be in the area, or maybe we can meet up for coffee sometime. I know you have a preferred lender, and I'm not trying to, tarnish that relationship. If anything, I just want to introduce myself. And as I'd mentioned over other live streams and content that I provided thus far, the problem with that is because we sound like a salesman. And so it's very, very important that we have a plan, right? And so you're going to notice that that's really the theme of how to ramp up your sales and ramp up your referral partner counts. It's actually having a plan. And so the plan would be, instead of calling these agents, just blind dialing and seeing who will take a call, because that's going to burn up your time. Not only that, but you're not going to have enough leverage to actually, entice that realtor to come meet with you, right? And so if I had to do it all over again, I would plan and be strategically looking towards the newer real estate agents. I'm talking about real estate agents that just got licensed within the last 6 months. Now, here's the reason why, is because with the newer agents, they're also looking to establish themselves, meaning that they are more receptive to your message. They're more inclined to go meet with you because they need to build up their experience as well. And so why I would actually focus on the newer agents, and before you think that this is going to be a waste of time, listen to me. So the reason why I would focus on the newer agents is because I would feel more comfortable as opposed to approaching a top producing agent. Does that make sense? So not only that, but I would also use that experience for practice. Now, here's the upside, is that when you establish a relationship with a newer agent, someone who's only been licensed for between 3 to 6 months, they don't necessarily have the business to give you. However, they do have value to give you. And that is they become your mole within that office. And so let's use the example again at Tarbell Realty. So let's say I found Jim. Jim's only been licensed for 3 to 6 months. And he's a newer real estate agent, right? And I did this by looking at every agent within that particular location. And then I just chose the newest actual license number. And the reason why is because if I get a meeting with Jim, now I can use Jim as an extension, or at least kind of like a mole of that office, right? So in other words, I'm going to be asking Jim very important questions that's going to put me inside that office, such as, hey, what calendar events do you guys have usually at your guys' office? Like every week, is there a rally? Is there a sales meeting? Is there a mentorship meeting? Do you guys do like group meetings at your office? And the reason why I would ask that is because I'm going to take note of that and then position myself to be there in one of these events. Second is I can ask Jim, because he's fairly new, I can ask him who's killing it in his office, like who's the top players within his office, right? And so if Jim says, oh, Susie, Tom, and Janet are killing it, I'm making mental note of that. I'm taking note because I need to position myself so that I can communicate with these top players. But how, right? So how do you do this? Now, of course, at some point, you're gonna wanna appear at these offices. And the challenge of us just usually popping in, like if you're an agent right now and you find yourself just kind of popping into offices uninvited, comment below, own up, and just know that you're doing it. But I'm gonna teach you why that's actually a waste of time. Not only that, but it damages your confidence and it doesn't position you properly to actually make a memorable impression, right? So let's say if you met one of the newer agents, in this example, let's say it was Jim. So Jim is fairly new, and I'm actually gonna set up a point where I don't meet Jim at the coffee shop. I'm going to approach Jim as if I'm already in the area meeting with other realtors or other referral partners. And en route, I'm gonna stop by just to say hi. That's it. So the reason why this is effective is because number one is it gives them the impression that all you're doing is stopping by. If you get ready to a point where you got a work bag, you got a planner, you know what I mean? Like you got a notepad, pens, and bags of goodies, and you're going in unannounced, what you may think is a strategy, it's actually framing you in the wrong way, meaning you're anchoring yourself as a bugaboo. A bugaboo, for those of you guys don't know, a bugaboo is like those people who come by your office and try to bug you for something, right? Like you might have account executives that stop by your office, or title reps that stop by your office, or escrow reps that stop by your office. These are called account executives, and what they do is they try to get your office to work with them. And it's ultimately almost like multi-level marketing, right? They're very aggressive. They're always there, and they're always trying to give you something for free. And so if you look at your desk, your work desk, you might have this little notepad from Tycor Title, right? Or you might have, let's say, pens from a different escrow company. Well, it's because that account manager was there trying to solicit business. And so the problem with that is that if there's already a relationship with another vendor, in our case, another relationship with another lender, we become intruders. So we're basically strangers. So how I would do it if I had to start all over again is I would go and meet with Jim with nothing on me. As a matter of fact, if you guys don't have, like key fobs, like I got a key fob, right? I don't necessarily have keys. I don't know who carries keys anymore. Keys is just about as common as cash. No one really carries around cash anymore. But if you got keys, if you're one of those dudes who got like a janitor set, like you got 19 keys, don't even know where they all go, then you want to keep it in your hand, right? So even if you had a fob, just keep your cell phone in your hand. And you want to walk in as if you are just stopping by, right? Like, and you kind of want to plant seeds like that too. And so let's say if I went to go meet with Jim and I'm asking the receptionist, the receptionist is like, hey, is Jim here? Okay, cool. Can you let him know that I'm here? You know what? I'm not going to be that long. Just let him know I stopped by real quick to introduce myself. And that's it, right? So when Jim comes out, all I'm doing is introducing myself and I'm asking a few questions of how to position myself for a revisit. Because what happens is as you're there waiting for Jim, hopefully the other agents are there and you already know the agents will be there because you've already asked him beforehand of any meetings, right? And let's say you couldn't ask Jim or Jim didn't know about any meetings, the receptionist will know of their calendar. They have an office calendar. And so their office calendar is the way that they communicate to agents, as agents aren't always in the office. But agents typically meet up and congregate in the office for various reasons, right? So it could be, an announcement, it could be a mastermind, it could be training, it could be a vendor meeting, whatever it is. You want to be able to kind of figure out when on the calendar or when in the week and when those events are scheduled, because you want to position yourself to be present. So even though I wasn't there to meet the top producers and I was just there to meet the brand new agent, at least they see me. Does that make sense? So even if I didn't say hi to them, that's okay. I'm not trying to bug them. All I'm trying to do is be in their atmosphere. I'm trying to raise questions. Like, who's that guy? And why is he meeting with the newer agent? Hey, Jim, who is that guy? Oh, he's just some loan officer. He actually contacted me. He's trying to help me close my first deal, right? And so what happens is when you leave that event, maybe you see one of the top producers that Jim told you about, or maybe you see another realtor while you're there. On your way out, you could say, hey, you know what? Hey, my name's Daniel. I was actually just here to say hi to Jim. I'm trying to help him close his first deal. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way out. You know what? I want to introduce myself and let you know that I'll probably be coming by the office again later on. And then you're out, right? So you're playing hard to get. You're not sitting there trying to burn up time. I promise you this is more effective than you trying to come in and intrude. Because what happens when you try to come in and intrude and you're trying to generate business, you get that awkward feeling, right? Like, I'm not even supposed to be here. Man, this sucks. These people are probably talking about me. You get all these thoughts. But when you take control of it and you take it away, people will become more curious. Not only that, but the second time you come into that office, you're not a stranger anymore. Matter of fact, you actually have reason to stop by. Does that make sense? So be strategic when you're actually approaching these realtors and actually have a plan. Because if right now you're just looking at lists of realtors and you're just dialing without doing your own recon, your recon is like gathering intel, all right? You got to gather information. How long has this person been licensed? Do they got any open houses? How long have they been with this particular broker shop, right? Because if you don't have these pieces of information, you're not positioning yourself to be more impressionable, right? Like if I didn't know anything about you or you didn't know anything about me and I just called you out of the blue and just asked like, hey man, would you like to grab coffee? What are the chances of you agreeing with that, right? So all it is just being strategic. With this plan, you're going to be able to penetrate more offices, but you're going to be positioned to do it correctly so that you're in front of more agents. Now, why I would start off with brand new agents is because until you gain the confidence of doing the process enough times, then you'll be prepared to actually approach heavy hitters. And so as you create your list of real estate agents, you want to also create that list, just like Jim said, right? Janet, Susie, or whoever the top 3 hitters are in that list. You want to make that MVP list and put it to the side. Because you may not be ready to approach them now, but there will come a time where you will be ready to approach them. But you got to be patient. You have to work your way up. Because if you're not working your way up with a strategy, unfortunately, you're just going to position yourself for more resistance. And I think oftentimes the challenge is when you make the first connection with the real estate agent, you're giving too much away, but you're also kind of setting up alerts and flags in the recipient's head. So the agent, once that agent hears you say your full name, like, hey, my name's Daniel Niekart, like you're already a stranger. Why would you say your full name? The second that agent hears your lending company, immediately they don't know you, right? Now this becomes a business call. This becomes a solicitation. But if I called you and you're a realtor and I said, hey, my name's Daniel, I'm actually on my way. I was going to say hi to one of my other real estate referral partners that is within the area. And I noticed you have an open house on the corner of 2-1 and Lewis. Man, you remember 2-1 and Lewis, right? So I guess where I'm getting at is all it comes down to is the approach. You have to be very, very aware and cautious of how you sound when you approach your prospect. That makes sense, guys? So comment below. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that, oh yeah, that would actually position me more favorably as opposed to going in there with 19 bags of donuts, right? And your whole work bag, your laptop, your tablet, right? Because it just looks like, oh man, what's this dude gonna do here? I don't know them, right? Like, how long do you plan on being here? You're setting off all these alerts and you don't even know it. You think you're doing good because you brought them cookies. But again, they you know what I mean? Like, we have to earn that right to give them something. Does that make sense? So it's evolved. And the reason why it's evolved is because there are more loan officers now that are trying to do this purchase game. In other words, there are more loan officers that are trying to get at that same exact realtor. But the only one who's going to do it right is actually going to be the one who does it more creatively. And so you're going to find less resistance when dealing with newer real estate agents because they don't know what the hell's going on either, right? They're trying to make moves themselves. And I'm not saying use them, because still you're going to be able to establish a relationship that's going to position you to help them later on. But in the interim, what you're doing is actually using them as a mole and a reason to get into their office. Now, let me ask you, if you had a choice to choose between the veteran real estate agent trying to get a hold of him, this dude's busy, he's making moves, he's established, and I'm trying to call him for some coffee, what do you think the likelihood is of me getting that meeting? But if I called Jim, who just started, who just got licensed, this dude doesn't even have a closing yet, I'm more likely to get an appointment with Jim. And Jim is then going to put me in contact with the top producing agents, or at least he's going to let me know who they are. And that's going to save me a ton of time, because instead of intruding and feeling like a stranger, I was there to meet Jim, boo-boo. I'm here to meet Jim. I got a quick meeting with Jim. I'm going to just say hi to Jim. And I'm going to establish a relationship where I get to drop by and just check on Jim. And the more that they see me around the office, I become a more familiar face. And the more familiar that they are with me, the easier that it will be for me to come in and introduce myself. Does that make sense? So I know a lot of the strategies that I've shared like prior to is saying, hey, I got a campaign in the area. You know, I could send some pre-approved buyers your way to your open house. I just want to see if you're right fit. But if you're coming from a position where you don't have a campaign, like you don't got leads to give, you're looking for leads your damn self, like, let alone feed some real estate agent, then this would be the best approach. This is going to be more time efficient, more time effective, as opposed to just blind dialing and just crossing your fingers and hoping someone gives you some time. Because the last thing you want to do is waste your time just to get nothing in return, and then you think it's something that you're doing wrong. Try this, and I promise you, you'll get more reception. You'll have less resistance, and you'll find yourself going to these offices with reason, as opposed to just dropping in and trying to meet whoever walks by. Don't be that dude, right? So I hope that really helps, because this is some powerful information and techniques that's going to put you in front of real estate agents. You know, as a kid, and tell me if you can relate with me, as a kid, when I wanted something, right, I couldn't necessarily ask, because I didn't grow up with my parents. I didn't grow up with my mom and dad. You know, I moved around. I lived with cousins, and I just moved around a lot. And so it's kind of difficult for me to ask for certain toys for like Christmas or whatever, right, or for my birthday. So you know what I did? I used to find some way to pull up the picture, and it used to be like these ads from Toys R Us, and I would have it laying around. And so like if you went to the bathroom, mysteriously, there's a Toys R Us ad open to the exact page with that toy that I wanted. Does that make sense? So I'm starting to plant it within the environment. And the reason why that works is because people already see it, right? Like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Hey, that'd be a good idea. But you think that it was fate. They think it was fate, but it was actually you putting yourself in position by thinking 3-4 steps ahead. So let me break it down even further and give you another example. For those of you know, like I went to college for damn near 3 months. I went to community college here in Orange County, Cypress, California. And the only reason why I went to college is because my friends were rushing a fraternity. We weren't even at the school of the fraternity. We rushed this fraternity. The fraternity was called Theta Delta Beta. It was an underground Filipino fraternity at Cal State Fullerton. Even though I didn't go to Cal State Fullerton, I hung out all day at Cal State Fullerton. And the whole primary reason was to meet chicks and go to parties, right? So what I would do, instead of, like try to be a bugaboo with every single chick, I would actually first get to know their friend. Because if I got to know their friend and I played hard to get with the person I'm actually targeting, I'm in that target's area, their environment. So they see me. Does that make sense? So even if I went with, like, let's say their friend and I had a relationship with their friend, I'm actually aiming to make partnership or some sort of relationship with the person I'm targeting. I'm not going straight to that person. Does that make sense? Because there's more chances of me getting turned down if I just try to hit them up directly, right? Now you might be like, hey, D, that's deep. That sounds like a lot of work. When in all reality, all you're doing is positioning yourself. There is a plan in place. Does that make sense? Now, I didn't want to go off to the side and talk about relationships or fucking buying toys. What I'm talking about is that if there's something that you want, you have to be visible. You have to find your way to be in front of that person or that realtor or that prospect that you're targeting. And the question is, well, how can I get in front of them? And you just got to be creative. Does that make sense? So winning in this game of sales, winning in this game of creating referral partners, it's not a matter of your lack of resources. It's just a matter of lack of creativity. So I want you guys to use creativity and have a little bit more of a game plan, because that is how you win over realtors. Now, let's talk about, in the same breath, how you can increase your production through refinances. What amazes me, of all the agents that I mentor, not too many of them even pay attention to refinances. Either one, they don't know how, or number two, they just don't have enough time. And it's unfortunate because refinances are easy money, very fast turn, right? Very fast turn times. Not only that, but it's the lowest hanging fruit. So if you could find a way to feed your pipeline with a good 2 or 3 refinance deals every week, at least every month, it's going to add to your overall top line revenue. So your income is going to be strong, your pipeline is going to be healthy, and that's key to having the right confidence and mindset when you're out trying to establish relationships. Because when you're trying to establish relationships, tell me if I'm wrong here, it's kind of hard if you're really relying on that one relationship to feed you. Because you're going to starve. You don't have any food in your pipeline. Does that make sense? Like you really need it to work. And there's something about this body language or tonality where you really, really need it. And if you don't, you know what I mean? Like if you don't get it, you're not going to eat. There's that desperation that kind of oozes out through your pores. You know how to get rid of that? You get rid of that by having deals in the pipeline. You get rid of that by having revenue coming in. And so if you're overlooking refinances, I want to wake you up. I want to open up your eyes to something that you may be missing. So if in the last couple months, if you haven't done one refinance transaction in this refinance boom, like if you're courageous enough to admit it, comment below. Say, yeah, D, I don't even mess with refinances because I don't know how, or I don't even do refinances because I'm too busy trying to solicit realtors. Well, the reason why you're trying to solicit these realtors is so they can give you deals. But little did you know, you have deals underneath your nose. So if you want to ramp up your business right away, look at all the prospects that you've done business with already. Because if you've done business with them once, the likelihood of them doing business with you again is very high, because there's that familiarity. Does that make sense? They already know you. They've done business with you before. But the thing is, though, is how do you approach them? And I think a lot of loan officers are approaching their past pipeline just like it's a brand new sale. Like, hey, Jim, this is Daniel. I just wanted to see if you're in the market. The interest rates are down. Maybe I could show you how to lower your rate and payment. That's the wrong way to go about it. Instead, be a little bit more methodical and actually have a plan in place and talk about, hey, Jim, this is Daniel. Hey, an alert came up on your file. If you remember when I helped you buy your house or when I helped you get into your house last year, we set up an alert system, and it's basically a courtesy check-in that we do just to make sure that you have the absolute best terms and the time has come. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just email you the details. It's going to go to your email. Is this email still valid? Okay, cool. Has there been any changes with like income or employment since I helped you last? No? Okay, cool. I have everything here, Jim. All I need to do is update a copy of your credit report and I can send it over. Is that okay? Yes. Now I got a new application. And it's all because Jim already knows me and I already have all of Jim's information. Is that clear? Like, so it's easy for me to flip Jim again. And more importantly, I didn't ask him if he was open to a refinance. I didn't ask him if he's in the market. I let him know it's already in motion. This train is leaving, Jim. Whether you're on it or not, it's going to come your way, Jim. Does that make sense? So if you could position yourself in that way where it's just something that's already in motion and something that already happens, and this was meant to happen. So when I helped you, we set up an alert to remind me this time of this year to check in with you. And now that time has come because there are new programs and new developments within your zip code that enable you to improve that term. I think it's important that you know, I'm just going to go ahead and send it over. It's going to be inside your inbox. Fair enough? Got it. Okay, cool. So boom, now I've already made a relationship. I've already made an application towards a refinance. And if you can learn how to master that and understand that approach, you don't have to just be out hustling in the streets looking for new deals. There are already deals that you've done that you could redo. And that's how you pick up, immediate business. A second way to close more loans right away is once the signing appointment has been set, right? So you get a notification from your escrow company or maybe your notary company that Jim Jones is signing tomorrow at 3 p.m., right? So once you get those alerts, it's very powerful to give Jim a call and say, hey, Jim, I just want to congratulate you. I see that you're closing and signing documents tomorrow. What a ride, huh? I hope you had a great experience. It was a pleasure working with you. After you sign, about 3 days after, money will be wired to your account or whatever type of transaction they're doing, even on a purchase, right? So the reason why you want to approach them at that point is because they are at an emotional climax. So they're happy that the process is done, right? Number two is that they get reminded of how smooth the process went. I hope it went smooth. If you did everything right, it should have gone smooth. Even if it didn't go smooth and they had to work with Jennifer, because no one likes Jennifer, right? So even if he had to work with Jennifer and had the worst experience, you're there to call and save your face and say, hey, Jim, I just wanted to give you a call and thank you very much for your patience. I know that Jennifer was oblivious or whatever, right? You're not down talking Jennifer, don't say that. But you say, hey, I know we had a couple delays in processing, but I just want to let you know I'm so happy that we got everything done. And now that this is done, we're on to the next chapter of your life. And I can't wait for you to experience a new savings, or I can't wait for you to get settled into your new home. But hey, just out of curiosity, do you know anyone else who's in the market? Because when they're done with their transaction, you get them in the right emotional state, a positive state of mind. They're more inclined to give you referrals. You just have to ask for it at the right time. You see, I think a lot of people ask at funding, right? But they're already done. They can hang up the phone and just walk away. The process is already done. But when you let them know that we're almost at the finish line, right? Like this is almost done. I'm so excited for you. The savings is about to kick in. They get a little bit of kind of this adrenaline rush. And if you can move in at that time, they either get a testimonial or at least a referral, you have a better chance of increasing your business. Does that make sense? Even if it didn't go down to a referral and you got a testimonial, man, work that testimonial, put it on your business page, put it on your personal page, tag the person who gave you the testimonial. So that way you become on their feed. Does that make sense? So let's say if Susie, one of my clients, gave me a testimonial, not only am I going to share that on my Facebook business page, but I'm going to tag Susie so all of 900 of Susie's friends sees that testimonial, likes it, congratulates Susie for the closing, right? Like, hey, Susie just bought a brand new house. I want to congratulate Susie Cartwright. Right? Now you tag them and now you're on the feed of every one of Susie's connections. Does that make sense? All it is planning. And so even if you didn't walk away with a referral, at least you got a testimonial. These things help you generate more business. But if you want to close some business right away, you need to look at the pipeline you've already established and look at your book of business. The second route another route to get more business and close more deals ASAP is keep track of the deals and the pitches you do that you didn't close, because oftentimes the chances are that in a week or two, they're already in process with someone else. Loyalty in this game is very rare, right? So if you come in and you catch them at the right time, and let's just say the borrower's name's Bob, whether Bob was buying a house or refinancing his home, if Bob didn't buy from me on the first, but I knew that Bob was making moves, and Bob said, I'm gonna go with my local credit union, or I'm gonna do business with Wells Fargo, I'm gonna make it a point to, number one, congratulate him and say, hey, Bob, I'm just happy you found the right place. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and update your file. And if you don't mind, I'll check in just to make sure everything's being taken care of in a couple weeks. Is that okay? And so what you do is you check in about two weeks into process. And by that time, Bob's already got experience with their loan officer, got experience with that company's processing system. And oftentimes what you find is that they're not as smooth as you. And so by week 2, they could be very well frustrated. They could be very well upset that they got to dig another 9 pages out of their 2010 tax return to prove that the lien was not valid. Does that make sense? Or whatever situation it is. But if you go in 2 weeks and you find out that Bob's in the process, well, how much leverage do you now have to ask your manager for an exception big enough to steal the business away from that lender? You have a lot, right? Because the proof is in the pudding that this person's already moving, that they're going to do business. And if you catch it at the right time, the market's right, you could probably get better pricing than what the other company gave them. But how many of us actually do that? What I think that we most likely do is if they don't buy from us, then we're on to the next, which I get it. You know, we have a lot of things that we need to do. Not everyone has the ability to manage their time in a way where they revisit certain leads. But if you got deals where you could have done the deal and they chose you, became between you and another company, and they went to that other company, it doesn't mean that you forget about them. That person's still closing. And that closing process takes 45 to 60 days. So even if you called them in like 3 weeks and then they figured out that they're upset and they should have never went with their company, guess what? Because you're present, you become their alternative. And if you want to know how to do that right, you got to check out the content at Sales Remastered. I got courses at salesremastered.com. One is called Closing Secrets 101. It's the cheapest program that I have right now. And what it does is it teaches you how to refinance. So if you're a loan officer right now who's just like, man, I don't do refinances because I simply don't understand them, then you need to pick up that program, because imagine how many deals, like how many more deals would you have in your pipeline if you did know how to do your refinance, if you did know how to flip your own business. So if you want to know how to set up a system in place, then the secret formula is the one for you. So Closing Secrets 101 is going to teach you how to close. It's going to teach you how to market refinance. The secret formula is going to show you how to put all the systems in place, how to work your redos, how to work your operations. That's you know, how to create your own established theme, like your own brand within your company or within your community. And the Sales Boost Camp is where you get to work with me directly. But whatever it is, you know, if you want to learn a little bit more about this, you want to know how to get yourself up to 10, 15, 30, 40, 50K a month. If you want to know how to get yourself to a point where you become the top producer, you don't need to rely on your company for leads. You don't need to worry if you're going to make enough money that month to float your bills or to, right? So you're never in the red, you're never below average, you're never at the bottom of the production chart. Then you need to pick up one of these courses. Invest in yourself, because that's the strongest thing that you can do. And the reason why it's the strongest thing is because all you did was plan. So if you want to plan, you want to create more sales, you just got to have a game plan. And the game plan can be found at salesremastered.com. So to everybody watching, I appreciate you guys. I hope that this content was very helpful. Be sure you comment in the chat box. Let me know you're here, and light up that thumbs up, guys. Like, don't just sit there and not engage, right? You just got some information that's going to help you pay for your new Gucci shirt, boo-boo. All I'm asking you to do is engage. Hit the thumbs up. Don't be lazy. If you're in a room full of people, don't feel that, oh no, I can't hit thumbs up because that's not cool. Man, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the content that I upload, because it helps me in return. If I'm helping you, help me back. Hit the thumbs up, engage, and comment so we can play these algorithm games on the platforms that you're catching this on. It really helps me in return. And don't forget, FIF is back tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. and I hope to catch you guys there. I appreciate you guys' time. enjoy your Thursday, put some of these actions into place and ramp up your business, because someone else is going to take that business from you if you don't figure it out. So I hope you guys figure it out and use some of these tips. I'm looking forward to reading all the comments, and I appreciate the thumbs up. I'll see you guys on the next live.